She's sexy, she's goofy, she's creative, she's a tennis pro, and her mission is
promoting tennis in Ghana and actually letting people love it.
Naa Shika Adu, CEO of Ace Tennis Academy, is our next guest on the Take It to the Max show.
Hi Shika, welcome
Hi.
to the Take It to the Max show.
Thank you.
It's really a pleasure having you.
Pleasure is mine.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's a beautiful day. I mean, I
It
love
is
the
a
weather.
rainy day, which has greatly delayed our interview, but
Yes.
I'm so glad we're finally having it.
No, but it was
and
worth it. I think
sipping on.
everything we were doing in between there just was fun.
Yeah,
And it was relaxing.
It really was fun, and we get to have ourselves some hot chocolate from Thea Coffee House where we're
Yes,
hosting
and
this
it's so
interview.
good.
Yeah,
So,
the environment
so good.
here is so
I
beautiful.
love it.
What is your expectations for this interview?
I've had a couple of interviews, yes, and it's always about tennis, and it's always about what I do, and it's still tennis, and it's fun and all talking about that. But sometimes I just feel like people will get to know me,
Right.
just know me, and then know how I came into tennis, but through my lifestyle,
Right.
and then my personality.
Before we get into your very interesting life, there is this one thing you keep doing all the time when you meet someone in person.
boy.
I remember you did that to me.
Oh boy!
So
here we
when
go.
when we had met and I had expressed that I played basketball, you exhibited a strong aversion for sports, only for me to find out later that you're actually like a professional tennis player. Before we get into why you do that, I just really want to know like some of the reactions you get from people when you express this aversion, because you were so strong on it. Like, I hate sports. I hate sports.
For me, I think I do that because, first of all, I want to see people's reaction and what people think about sports.
Yeah.
And also in relation to women, you know,
Right, okay.
which is not a very big thing in our society. So
Right.
I start off conversations with that just to get the other person comfortable. And also, I think for me, the part that I love is the shock part when I get to tell them that I'm a pro tennis player.
Look, people, I experienced it. It's not even funny. I was like, oh, she's like actually good at what she does.
It does give it a different kind of value when you finally tell them, oh, actually, I do sports.
Right.
And I've been doing sports my whole life.
Yeah.
And so for me, I think mostly what happens is that they tend to defend sports. And I like to hear their opinions because I always say to people that tennis is a boring sport. And they're like, why do you say that? I'm like, before I can excel at a game, promoting tennis in Ghana, which you know is what I do, and actually letting people love it, I need to first of all identify the problems with the sport. And one of the problems with tennis is that the majority of people find it boring, just like they do find golf boring. No matter how like a niche sport and it's expensive, they still find it boring. So if you can identify that problem and then find ways to make it interesting and make it fun for people, then you're solving the problem and then you're getting somewhere. So I think for me, identifying that is the first thing, and that's how people think about the sport is important for you to find solutions to, all
Interesting. That. I respect that. I think essentially it does work. It works a lot, because I found myself like I hadn't actually thought about why I loved sports and why I played the sports I did, but just like hearing your opinions made me think about like on the sport about why I love basketball, and I had to like defend sports. I felt like it's funny how I felt the need to actually defend my sports because I hadn't actually critically thought about why I played that sport. So you mentioned tennis being a very boring sport, but one thing you would rather find interesting is a lot of guys like to watch female tennis matches. Could you take a wild guess why?
Look at me. We all know. Anyway, that was just a joke. So apparently, guys watch female tennis because of our apparels, our clothing, and how sexy we look.
Right.
And the mourners, when we hit, like when at impact you breathe out. So ideally what happens is that over time it becomes a moan, like and that is a lot of men also find that very, very exciting to watch.
Look, in as much as that is so offensive, at least it gets them to watch. And they get to see that women, I just hope that, after seeing them play for a very long time, they get out of this turns me on, and they're like actually watching the game.
You know the funny thing, the men do moan as well, but for some reason they don't hear it.
I'm so glad you mentioned tennis fashion, which is something I wanted to get into, and which I feel is something you are also very passionate about.
Yes, like tennis fashion. it takes me all the way back to like maybe my first year, after my first year, maybe my second year in tennis, when my mom started sewing dresses for me.
Right.
You know,
did she already have a background in like sewing?
My mom was a typical Ghanaian woman growing up. You would have all those life skills from cooking to sewing to everything in the house. In fact, in my house, my dad, I've assisted my dad to do carpentry. How do you call it? I swear, like everything, everything. So you have like basic knowledge on everything, and likewise my mom. So she used to sew every now and then, simple attack clothes and stuff. And I remember how she sewed like she sewed tennis dresses for me. I can still remember the dresses. They were white with like almost like an orange. I'm colorblind, by the way, so I'm very bad with colors. And it was actually like a show your back kind of thing. Okay, you know, like the back. Okay. And I remember feeling so good wearing those clothes, like wearing those dresses. And with time, I realized that obviously my preference in clothes changed in terms of tennis on the court. And I like particular clothes. I like the free clothes. I like the clothes that have like a very that are very thin. And also I realized that when I feel good in what I wear, I play better.
Yeah, able to give
it's
like
your
best.
I'm totally confident. And also for me, if I wear like sexy clothes, like when the shorter my dresses, the more I feel good about myself.
So we know Daddy introduced you to sports.
Yeah.
So would you say like sewing your tennis outfits was Mommy's way of contributing to your newfound passion and dream?
That wasn't the only thing she did.
Oh, okay. What else?
Yeah, well, my mom actually has been like a very important pillar in me playing tennis, staying in tennis, and actually continued to play tennis. So my support has been very, very how would I put it, like extremely important to my success. Because she got into tennis, she started playing, the whole family started playing, the whole family started studying tennis.
Oh, nice.
So at some point my daddy was very like strict. He was like the mean strict dad. Like when I say mean strict, I mean like proper mean strict dad. And it also got to a time we were a bit of in a conflict because he was studying tennis afresh, although he used to play. He was studying the techniques of tennis afresh.
Because now he had to coach you through it.
Yes. Right. And at the point where he was studying, we were both studying together. So it was me, my mom, and him. And he interpreted a lot of the techniques and some of the things we were seeing very differently, you know. And as a child, but even at that age, I had this wild mind and also understood what having a talent and a flair to do something is. And I knew we were not bound by limitations in especially expressing ourselves on the tennis court. So my dad didn't understand that. He actually wanted me to play a particular format, and the technique has to be in a particular way. And I knew at that young age that no, I see a lot of people having different styles, but the technique, the basic technique is there, but they have different styles. And my dad didn't want to listen to that. He wasn't having any of that. I remember we spent so many years back and forth, and you know, his say is final. So I was literally being coached by my dad how many hours a day. And when we were done, I felt like what he was teaching me was wrong, which is not just a feeling. So I would actually spend an extra maybe like 30 minutes without him. So it would just be me and my mom, and then I would secretly be working on what I thought was the right technique. Okay,
but how were you able to tell those techniques were the right ones?
Because first of all, we all knew what the basic was, and it's all about practice. Because we used to video myself. They would video myself when I would video myself when I was training, so I could see exactly what I'm doing. And I mean, you play basketball, so you know what I mean. When you're trying to master the techniques, your hand position, your weight, your balance, all those things. So I knew the basic things, and I had a video camera in front of me that is recording what I'm doing. So I know at what stage and what to do with my body, right? So I knew the basics that I had to get correct. Like obviously those basics were also giving me results on the tennis court. So I would practice those in secret with my mom.
Right.
I mean, aside she getting me nice tennis clothes, but
Yeah.
that was what we were doing for the longest part, actually, if I remember. Because
Right.
with sports, it's interesting, especially with every sport, I think. But it gets to a time that when you love the sport, you don't wait to learn everything from your coach. No.
Right. Yeah.
You're going out there, when you see someone do something, you start doing it. Because you understand, once you get into it, your mind is open to it. You understand, you can see, you can grasp anything and everything that someone is doing. So it's like at every point in time, when you see something different, you know exactly what it means, and you know exactly what results it's going to give you. So you're going to go on the court and actually start, practicing that. And yeah, I did that with mom a lot.
Would you say it affected your relationship with your dad in any way? Because when you have to work with your parents and then have them as your parents again, it can be tough.
Yeah, when you have a very strict Ghanaian dad, I'm not saying you shouldn't be strict dads, but sometimes it doesn't always help, It really doesn't always help, because there are times when you might be wrong. And our Ghanaian system, I said, you won't get up and go and tell your old dad, I said, this thing you're teaching me is wrong.
No way that's happening in Africa.
Right. Beat the hell out of you. So I feel like that in itself alone is a problem in our society. The fact that we have parents, or let me say quote unquote dads, who are so into themselves and so strict at what they want to see their kids do or their families do, to the extent that they don't allow other opinions. They don't allow people to share their minds. They don't allow people to actually convince them of why it should be A and not B. Right. And it can be very problematic, honestly.
But thanks to mom, you turned out fine.
It did turn out fine.
Knowing and having experienced that, I'm pretty sure you have some tennis dads who come on the courts with their kids and are also, in acting in the same lights. Do you take the chance now that you're in the position to actually make a difference? Speak to them.
I think so far I've met one dad like that.
Right.
Who actually I told him about my story as well.
Okay.
With my dad and training and everything. No, he didn't change. He doesn't look like he's changing, and it's affecting his daughter's play, and I don't think he realizes it. But at the same time, I've also met other dads who are very receptive to. You see, it's all about being receptive to growth,
right?
To change. And also upgrading yourself.
Yeah.
So if you, back then how we used to do something, let's say tennis even, right? It has changed a lot. When they started, we were holding the rackets in a particular way, we're holding in Ghana, we I grew up playing at the Aquasfo Stadium, so we used to speak Ghana a lot, and there's something we call ato, the ladle, right?
Yeah.
And so it's called ato in Ghana.
Okay.
And the way you hold it, you see the way you hold it so
how do I even hold it?
When you
this
when
way,
you try to,
right? Yeah.
And so there is a grip, back then they used to hold the racket like that.
Okay.
The way you hold the ladle.
Right.
And it just goes
was that an international thing, or it was just like...
It was an international thing, but in Ghana we used to call it ato.
Right.
But my point is, that is how it used to be at first, and it changed over time. Right now, nobody uses that grip. If I use that grip and everybody's looking at you you won't even find anyone using that grip, you know? So, I feel like with sports science, it's changing over time.
Yeah.
Because you have those amazing scientists who are always finding ways and means to use your body to generate the most power or the most accuracy. Right. So these things will change. But then if you have coaches or let's say parents who are not receptive to these changes, then it becomes very problematic, because it has to change over time.
I feel like you sharing your story right now is a good chance for dads out there to learn to evolve. Whatever be the situation, be it sports, if your child has a bit of talent, just give them room for them to be their individual selves and explore who they are in the sports.
I'll give you a typical example. Right? Back then when I used to play, kids can start at the age of let's say 9, 10, 11, and they will still become pros, right? And even at the age of 9, 10, 11, you'd barely find like parents who are, or kids who get thrown into like a tennis court and they're like, from day one you're going to be a pro, so you're trained in a particular way. Now we have kids starting at age 3. In fact, we even have kids starting at age 2, and it's like they have a routine, a schedule. They're on a particular schedule. They're doing 4 times a week, and they're training particular hours a day, maybe 1 hour, maybe less, maybe more. And these kids are just 3, and by the time they get to 6, they understand and think like a pro. They eat in the right way. They train in the right way. They're doing all of these things, and it's not even Ghana. That's worldwide, right? And this it didn't used to be like this back then, but with time, a lot of things changes, and that is one thing. So you have now that a lot of kids who I have. Majority of the parents bringing their kids because they want them to just learn a sport and get into an activity, which is fine. And then you have some kids, and as I speak to you, one of my kids, his name is Nairam. He's actually at the Barcelona Open in Spain. And it's been his longest dream to see his role models actually play. And yesterday he was sending me videos, and I was like, oh, I love this because it's so nice to see the fact to see him actually be in the space where he's dreaming to be, and see his pro players and all of that. And it was such big motivation for him. But that is exactly what I'm saying. He's just 6 years old. He knows how to play tennis. He knows all about the stars. He sees it as a career option for him.
Was that the same for you growing up?
Yes.
And gaining interest in the sports. Because listening to you, I could tell that from the very onset when you were introduced to it, you knew for certain that this is what you'd be doing. This is it for you. Was it easy? Was it scary for you to think of it? Because for a sport that's a lesser funded sport in the country is not lesser known. It's just lesser funded.
Are you sure?
That's my opinion.
Are you sure?
Tennis is by the government.
You walk in town and people be like, oh, that's the bat. Like when you say so yes, it's lesser funded, but also not a lot of people know about it. Which I guess we'll be talking about more work to be doing into that. But I feel like quite a number of people are familiar with the game of tennis. But I feel like it's not doing as well as the popular sports. We all know it because it's lesser funded. But for sports like that, and just like, I'm pretty sure you could have like counted the number of Ghanaian role models like on both fingers. But you still felt like, oh, this is what I'd want to do professionally. Was it scary for you, or you just felt like, I'm going to do this, and by faith, I know I'm going to make it? I think at that age, I really wasn't thinking about role models in Ghana. No. But at that age, obviously, it was around the time when Venus was playing and was winning. So I remember that was you seeing another black girl on TV do what you about to do was actually inspiration enough. And the fact that we, at that age, very young age, we have a dream was very special. Because, yes, now I see a lot of kids, even at the age of 5, 6, have dreams that they are working towards. But I think that was something that set me very different from my mates in school because we were all in school learning, but everybody from school goes home and have a normal lifestyle, go play outside and all that. But I had a dream. I had something to look forward to. I had something I was planning, And I think right now when I look back, it actually feels good to be at that age and have a focus, have a discipline towards something that can be long term for you. So for me, I'll say that yes, having that at that age definitely is like extremely. It changed my life a lot, and for me also, I think I was a very reserved girl growing up. I think maybe people must know
naturally, or because you had like after school there was no time to socialize.
No, I think naturally I was a very reserved person.
It's funny because you're not a reserved person right now. It's fascinating.
Look at me trying to see. No, I am relatively reserved. No, I am relatively reserved, honestly. It's just that I feel like as we grow, right, a lot of the things that we found to be ideal tends not to be that ideal for us.
Very true.
You know, and with time, like I said, you evolve because sometimes you call into your space and you're into your shell. You don't like to meet people. You don't care about meeting people. You're always alone, and sometimes it can be really depressing. To be honest, you know, back then when I was very reserved, when I was just like growing up, I used to do art. I used to like draw, and then play tennis. And now I'm not doing the drawing as much, right? And I'm working, so I can't be in my shell because there was nowhere else to channel all that energy into.
Okay.
And for me, I think yes, it's all about the energy as well. Because although I was reserved, I was channeling my energy into artwork. Okay. So it was tennis and artwork for me. Like growing up, that was my whole life. Even in school, I really wasn't listening like when the teachers teaching, because you'd find me with my textbook and then my notebook here, and I'm literally drawing in my notebook while the teacher is, you know, in class. But that is the point. Like growing up, that was my life.
Personally, from my interactions with you as an individual, I find that you are a student of life, more so a student who has been through school. You prefer to let life teach you lessons. So I'm not surprised that just getting into tennis, you were not looking at, you know, local or Ghanaian tennis players to look up to. You were looking more internationally. Where lied the dream you had in mind? And if it's international, why not? You're not limited to what they confine you to, because you know, with a lot of students, they're limited to what happens in school. But you being a student of life, you're looking for where the opportunities align with your dream, which is absolutely great. And I feel like you capitalized on that, took tennis seriously, and made it a profession for you. And you're also providing a platform for kids to actually learn and then make it a profession if they would want to. For those who want to study it as a hobby as well, you're providing equal platform for them all. You also mentioned to me one time that you took a break from playing professionally to come set up the academy, which I find really impressive. It's more or less a sacrifice. You're looking out for other people, establishing tennis in the country as well. So what led you to making that decision, and how does it make you feel knowing that you're making that impact for a lot of kids?
Well, I mean, as a player or as a sports person, you know, you see sometimes even at a young age, you're looking at your life after your career. And even at that young age, I don't know about this, but I desired to have a tennis academy, you know, or probably have like a tennis center. I think at that point, it wasn't really like a tennis academy, but like maybe own like a tennis center or a stadium or something that had like regular tennis tournaments. Because I'm going to divert a bit, right? I feel like some of the things that being a young athlete gives you, which money can buy, is competing at an international stage and meeting people. You know, at a very young age, you're traveling, you're meeting people, you're interacting, you're networking, you're literally opening yourself to learning and like exposing yourself to so many things. There's the good and the bad, but usually in a sports setting where you already have a discipline, like you all you can say is, or you just absorbing just good habits, you're absorbing good networks, you're getting, it's just all around. And that's one thing that I feel like even at that age, the fact that I was playing sports gave me that opportunity to develop faster, you know, and actually perfect some, you know, disciplines that even till date I found myself doing the same things when it comes to my nutrition, when it comes to my attitude towards workouts, when it comes to my attitude even towards work. You know, I always say to people that athletes or like sports people, we run on passion, we live on passion. It is what drives us. So you realize that everything that we get ourselves into, whether it's it doesn't matter how small, like we do it so passionately because that is how we operate. So I mean, if it kind of cultures your life in how you live, in how you approach every single situation in your life. So I'd say that, hey, it's something that even parents who are not like who wants the kids, they don't want the kids to, you know, play professional. It still doesn't matter. You really need to get that, put them in that space, that discipline, something that cultures their life right from the beginning. It's very important. At least even if your kid goes through that for maybe like 4 years, 5 years, after that they're back in like SHS, university, whatever. There would always be something that they can fall back on and say that I got this from the sports activity that I was into. So it's very, very necessary. Yeah.
Right. I think some people might be lost because you mentioned that you own an academy, but we've not even officially introduced what the academy is and what you do. So just talk to us about it.
So yes, sometime when I found, I think my last tennis tournament, which was in ITF Futures, as we call it, in Italy. I think that was when I realized that Masa, without money, it's tough. You can't be traveling back and forth with nobody. Like you really can't. Like you can't sustain it yourself. You need sponsorship, and around that time I wasn't getting the sponsorship. So that was when I was like, okay, fine, come to Ghana. And then I think I know, right? It wasn't like I was staying out for long, but it wasn't like a come back to Ghana, but it felt like, okay, if you travel next, you're not going to play or compete.
Right.
So it wasn't the fact that you're coming back home, because I was going back and forth, but the fact that the next time you're traveling out is not because you're going to compete, which was sad. Yes, but so at some point when I came back, maybe for like a year and a half, I wanted to study academy, but I don't think I even found the strength to start it. But yes, I think in 2017 that's when I finally start putting things together from a very layman's perspective. No training on business, nothing, just a passion, a girl with a dream, and a woman ready to make something happen in a place where it seems almost impossible.
Right.
And I think that has been the defining moment of owning and running a tennis academy in Ghana.
Right.
Because first of all, there's no system like that in place where we have like a tennis academy that would have the same coaches with different branches, like trying to provide a particular program, a training program that every kid, every client, every person coming through has to follow. So having that program, that structure, thank you, alone was difficult to build.
Yeah.
And by with time, all of those things definitely happened. And I also realized that a lot of the times when clients were reaching out, they were definitely not expecting like a female person or the academy. It's very interesting with the adult clients we used to get, because they show up on the courts and they're like, oh, I saw this, and like, oh, I wanted to come, make inquiries about tennis. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm the head coach. Or sometimes my coach would say like, oh, go speak to her. She's the person you need to talk to. And then they come to me and, they have this whole look of, does she even know how to play? I've actually had one time where this guy actually came. Was it a guy? No, it was actually a parent. So they had already registered their kids, or the kids have started training and all. And one day I show up on the courts with my outfit and everything, and
sexy looking outfit. I believe.
Not really, no, not really. But I remember they were not expecting. They didn't think I play.
Right.
They thought I was just maybe the girl who was just the coach. As funny as it sounds, they were like, oh, I thought you just worked like maybe the secretary or you're whatever to it. And maybe you are just a manager or something, but not really that you play. And I'm like, oh, sorry, I do play, by the way.
What did that make you feel? You're laughing right now, but was it a funny situation?
To be honest, it was a funny situation. Honestly, you can't get angry. You can't. Because obviously she's not expecting that, because she hadn't seen that in the system.
Right.
Which brings me to something else. So I started a program, which I call the She in Action, where I'm getting young females who are either graduates or still in their university, interested in pursue their sports career, to come to my academy for on-the-job training.
Okay.
And the reason why I started this program is, whilst running my academy, I realized that there's a big gap of women or sports physical trainers or women coaches in Ghana. And it's such a big problem because I realized that a lot of parents and even some older people felt very comfortable to come to my academy because it's a female there, you know. So I realized that the number of girls I have started increasing a lot when the parents knew that they were bringing their girl child to a female, you know. So the minute I saw that problem, I was like, I need to provide a solution. In the beginning, I was so frustrated because I was like, where am I going to find a female tennis coach? First of all, we don't even have so many female tennis players in Ghana. So then I started thinking about this. I tried a couple, but I wasn't very comfortable with everything, the arrangements and all. I was like, nah. So then I was like, wait, why do I have to get a female tennis coach when I could train someone who has at least some little knowledge in physical instruction, you know? So that was where the whole idea started, because a lot of my coaches, even though they know how to play tennis, they have to learn our way of coaching. So I was like, anybody could learn. Then I started that program, and it's been very successful, to be honest. It's been very, very successful.
So outside of tennis, there's a lot more to you as a person. I know you are a creative, and it's even evident with you know, you on the court playing tennis. We're gonna get to how you infuse your creativity and tennis, but talk to us about your creative side.
I don't know. I think I remember when I fell in love with art. I remember I was in school, probably in class, maybe JHS, and someone was drawing something, and I think that was where it piqued my interest, and I started doing it. And all of a sudden, I realized that is all I wanted to do. And at some point in my life growing up, it was just tennis and art, to the extent that the only thing that made me happy and also made me cry was art. Like the joy of seeing something I create on a blank sheet was so much fun. Like I remember it gave me so much joy, and I think about it like almost the whole night, every day. And I was always excited to actually get better. So I would find ways and means to get better. I would come up with all my ideas. There were times I was even using sand and all of those to create shades and blah blah blah, because I wanted to do something that you know, I wanted to do something that felt like I was drawing something right from the earth. You know, there's so many. I remember there were so many things I did with that, and I think it kind of made me appreciate me growing up. Even with the fact that I didn't have lots of friends to go out with and do stuff with. And I don't know, sports and art together, it really, really opens your mind. It really brings out your confidence, which is actually one thing I think that everything I do is definitely driven by confidence.
So you feel like your creative side opens you up and makes you more confident in every aspect of your life. And talk to us about how you fuse that creativity into your current profession.
Like I said, anytime I'm here, for instance, like anytime I see something, I could see something that is totally unrelated to tennis or to sports, and instantly I'm thinking of creative ways to apply what I see in terms of tennis or in terms of sports in Ghana that can be beneficial. And I found myself doing that countless times. There are so many ideas that that has evolved from just a basic thing unrelated to sports, and then I found ways to, you know, tweak here, tweak there, change here, do that, and then actually make it work with tennis.
With tennis as well.
Even something as simple as wearing heels to play tennis.
I was going to talk about that. How easy is that, or how difficult is that?
To be honest, okay, so when you're doing a 3-inch heels, that is extremely easy, because then again, I like wearing heels. So if I could wear heels the whole day. Once it's like around 3 inch or 3.5 inches, I'm good, right? Now, because I'm so comfortable in those heels, it almost feels like, you know, normal walking and everything. So the first time I actually started playing in heels, it was a lazy thing, you know. You know that thing where you show up on the court and you are not there to play. Like when I meet up my friends sometimes and I'm not ready to play tennis, you know, so I don't have my outfit, I have nothing. And then I see them playing, I'm like, oh, I didn't have a call. I want to play some. So there was one time, same scenario, and then I was like, no, I want to play. And I wasn't dressed for it. So it was heels, and I was like, no, I'm gonna play in the heels. And they're like, oh no, you're gonna get yourself out. I was like, I must we can do it, you know. Then I started, and I was like, okay, this isn't cool. Then one time I was there, and I was like, hey, I remember playing in heels. That's also something I did. It's not like something I don't do. So how about I take a video of it and put it out there? And I mean, it started like that, but I quite enjoy the fact that it's different. I feel like it's empowering, honestly. I feel like the fact that women wear heels and we do makeup and we do our hair, we have extensions. That is what we do. That's what who we are. That's what we want to do. I mean, we can make all of those things. We can. How do you call it? We can
incorporate them into.
Thank you. We can incorporate those things into what we do and make it fun.
What would you say are your other talents outside of drawing? So you do like more like pencil drawing.
I used to do pencil and charcoal.
Okay.
Yeah, charcoal more. But I'm trying to paint now. Okay. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Because I know you to be an appreciator of painting as well.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. What else do I have talents for? Honestly, this question just took me back.
We actually share a hobby in common.
Which one?
Dancing. We dance salsa, don't we?
Yes. Okay, so I don't think I have talent in that, but I enjoy dancing. Right. I've always loved salsa, like years back. So I just found myself dancing salsa. I also like I like driving a lot. I like driving. I like racing. It's fun. I like, what else do I like? I like adventures. I like traveling. I like road trips. I like anything fun that doesn't get you behind a PC. I like competitions a lot. So I like to challenge my friends, whether it's a game of cards, whether it's a game, anything, literally anything. But even if it's sometimes tennis matches, but I always want to be doing or get involved in some activity. I'm not that person who wants to sit down, you know. Nah. Apart from drawing, I don't want to sit down doing anything. I want to be out there.
Would you consider yourself an accomplished tennis player? Or tennis personality? Let's say that in general, because outside playing, you coach as well. So would you
I wouldn't say that I'm totally accomplished. No, I don't even want to say that I'm even like 50% there. Absolutely no. There's so much work to do. There's so many things that needs to happen. There is so much that I need to see happen. There's so much in me that I need to bring out, and I feel like I haven't even done like a quarter of it. But the thing is that I'm on the path to creating those things, and so I feel happy that I'm on the path. But also, I feel like it's been slower than I imagined it. It's been slower than I projected, and also because of our system. You know, there's a lot of obstacles. There's a lot of things you have to work against. There's a lot of things that you have to deal with in order to, you know, survive in this kind of business in Ghana. So, accomplished, no. And then again, I have this attitude. I think there's one thing that people don't know about me. I feel like I have this attitude of never feeling good enough, but not a good enough like
satisfied.
Okay, satisfied, yes. Maybe good enough is like a bit of a strong word, because I feel like sometimes this is what someone actually complained about. He felt like when we're doing my projects, when I have a project to complete, like as soon as I'm done, even before I'm done with one project, it's always like a different project that I'm starting, that they don't even get to celebrate that success. And it's and that is me.
You're obviously doing a great job when it comes to tennis in Ghana. You're bringing it a lot more into the spotlight, and I believe you have some projects in the limelight, in the pipeline. Sorry. Yes. So what other projects you feel you'd want like other people to help out with, or just like get involved with? If it's investing in, what are some of these projects you feel like people can come on board on?
I mean, I think the major one, which goes without saying, is the tennis academy itself. Because, you know, as tennis academies all around the world, what happens is that you start a tennis academy, you obviously grow your academy, and it gets to a point where you have investors or companies coming on board to actually, you know, either sponsor a kid, sponsor the academy itself, project the academy in there, actually put out some of these talents, no matter what the ages are. And that is what academies thrive on, you know. So I think I've gotten to that phase where
it is the ideal time for investors or companies to sponsor and actually get on board with us to create new beginnings for a lot of people. And I'm saying new beginnings in the sense that it's so, we all know how our economy is in Ghana. We all know what it is like. Let's typical in Ghana. Someone starts one thing and it's going successful, and the next thing you know, everybody's doing the same thing. Yeah. Why? Because people are looking for ways and means to have a better life. Yeah. You know, and things like sports and things like tennis, everybody's playing football. But at the end of the day, the more people that play football, the more difficult it becomes for the footballers to actually get chosen and get this, because it's a lot of people. But there are so many things we can concentrate our energies on that we are not doing that could actually bring more money to us, or even more exposure, or even better lives. So I think that for me, yes, I'm saying this, but having a female or a woman who used to play, who used to be very passionate about this game, starting a tennis academy and actually doing what we've been able to accomplish so far, it would really be in the best interest of some of these companies to actually partner with us in whichever way, or come on board with us to actually create, like I said, new beginnings for people. Let's create new opportunities for some of these kids. Let's give the other maybe 0.5% of the country something else to put their energy into, something else to dream about. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Naa Shika, for coming to the Take It to the Max show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You've been an amazing guest. Thank you so much for sharing a lot about your life, your journey as a tennis player, and your goals and dreams.
Thank you. Thank you. No, thank you so much for having me. And I think I've really, really enjoyed this interview.
Same here.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Oh, mine. So this is what Akoshi. Wow, carefully crafted. Let's see what's in this. Yeah. Oh, you're joking. Can I put this one there? Oh my God. And look at it. It has taken to the box here. Oh, wow. I love this. No, honestly, like, I love this. This can be very good to like keep like your shea butter, you know, your natural like creams and all. Absolutely love this. Subscribe to Take It to the Max and keep your eye on this space. There's a lot of incredible stories to come.